Thank you so much, parents. Thank you so much, teachers. Thank you so much to Waianae High School and Nanakuli as well for everybody just to have me here tonight. My name is Jensen Robacall, and I am very honored to share my story with you all. And I pray that this will be an encouragement to you, that this will leave you inspired to persevere. Last year I did it at Nanakuli High School, and I said our vocabulary word was perseverance. This year it's the same word because I would love to share my perseverance with you. So just so you all know, I was not born blind. I was sighted for about 6 months of my life. When I was 6 months, I was diagnosed with retinoblastoma, which is an eye cancer that attacks the eyes. Could have spread to the body, could have spread to my brain, could have spread everywhere, and it's an aggressive cancer. What has happened because of that is that I was led to fly to San Francisco to remove my eyes, and obviously I stand here 28 years later, and I have just I have been blind for that much, but I do not have any cancer. So yeah, so thank you so much. So I just wanted to share maybe a brief little story about my life growing up, and I really wanted to focus on the story of my life today. And so when I grew up, I went to Manana Elementary School in Pearl City, I went to Highlands Intermediate, and I went to Pearl City High School. Perseverance, perseverance, perseverance. And why do I say perseverance? Because being blind doesn't equal incompetence. Okay? Being blind does not equal incompetence. What I mean by that is that just because you cannot see, or just because you have some limits in your life physically, does not mean that you are not capable to do something that you want to do. Yeah? So me being blind, I had great parents. I have great parents in the audience right here. They fought to get me a good education because I had to go through many elementary schools until I found Manana Elementary School just to get a good education. A lot of people are worried about liability, safety, right? What if I fall? What if I get hurt, right? That's what they were worried about. Perseverance led me to graduate from Pearl City High School. Yeah? So the main thing that I would like to focus on today is what I am doing today, what I'm doing now. Now, keep that in mind, right? Perseverance, blindness does not equal incompetence. When I became a college student, I went to Leeward Community College. I graduated with my Associates in Arts and Teaching degree. So there you go, I became interested in becoming a teacher. I started to become interested in becoming a teacher from a long time. I love to teach. I love to sit in a teacher's chair. I love to teach different things. And the teacher's chair, they have the best chair. I mean, I just loved it. So, no desks. I wanted to sit in a rocking chair, where the teachers sat. Anyway, and so I got interested in teaching. I started my first job at 19 when I was teaching at the Ho'opono Training Center for the Blind. And my job title was a transition program coordinator. And I taught blind high school students all about job skills, all about career, and how to fill out a resume and how to answer interview questions. Yes? And that's when I got interested in becoming a secondary ed teacher. And I said, I really want to reach high school students, middle school students. Well, back then it was just high school students. I was like, no, I don't want to do middle school students, just high school students. But we are called out of our comfort zones And eventually, I found myself at Chaminade University studying for my bachelor's degree in secondary education. And I said, you know, I want to be an English teacher, but I want to teach high school. I didn't want to teach middle school. And I did fine all the way until it was my last semester when I was looking for a student teaching placement. And that's when I went through 5 schools just to find me a placement. Perseverance, right? 5 schools. A lot of people were wondering, how is a blind person going to teach? Yeah. Eventually, I found myself at Highlands Intermediate, teaching 8th grade English. Oh boy, I was teaching 8th grade English. But you know what? That turned out to be one of the best experiences ever. And let me tell you what. Okay, not only did I have really great kids, but I was able to teach 4 classes by myself. Of course, my mentor teacher was back there observing me. But you know, I call myself one of the happiest teachers in the world. And let me tell you why. It's because I can teach your child, our generation, our next generation, in a way that nobody else usually does. I take attendance in different ways. I had a seating chart where I had students sit in rows of 6, and I numbered the seats 1 through 6, 7 through 12, 13 through 18. And I said, okay, when I call your seat number, you tell me, what's your name? And I had them sit alphabetical order according to my roster. And I called them seat number 1, seat number 2, seat number 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's how I would take attendance. I did not take attendance the regular visual way. I didn't know who was here, so I had to know by relying on my other senses, my hearing, especially my hearing, my students' help, and that's when you really develop that rapport with your students. Because you really need, as a blind person, I felt like I really needed to rely on my students to get me through each day. So how did you teach, Mr. R? Oh, well, I managed the classroom with using my other senses. I got around using my cane. I organized things the way that I wanted them to be organized, and I told my students, you guys are my furniture. You guys are my furniture, meaning you guys don't move. Stay in your seats as much as possible. I'll tell you when to move. Did that always happen? No. We have 8th graders, they test you, yeah? And it has nothing really to do with my limitations. It's just that, you know, teens will be teens. They want to explore and find out what they want to get away with, right? And so I was able to manage the behavior because I spent so much time with my kids. I also had a very vocal class. So obviously, when I say, if you have any questions, usually we are taught in school to what? Raise your hand. In Mr. R's class, we could not raise our hands. I said, you know, if you have any questions, please vocally tell me, Mr. R, I have a question. Vocally tell me when something does not feel right in the classroom. And I gave them the permission, please tell me who is not ready to take their test. I had my students clear their desk and I would say, okay, Johnny, please tell me who is not ready. And they would look around the room. And if it's, you know, of course, you can kind of tell, you know, who you can trust and who you can't. But yeah, I did that for a semester, and I was able to graduate with my Bachelor's of Arts in Education degree, secondary education English. And today, I am hoping that I can get a call from somewhere, and a principal will be out there willing to hire me as their English teacher, or as whatever teacher they have an opening for. Because, you know, you have to deal with whatever cards you're dealt with, yeah? So, if anything, how do we get from being blind in an elementary school fighting to get an education to becoming a teacher? It's all about perseverance. It's all about, and you know what? Don't ever think that I could do this by myself. I needed support. We need parents. We need our student help. We need teachers to help. We need a team to help us, yeah? We need that because I could never do this by myself. Every morning I go to class, in the morning I had the key and I get in and honestly, I would pray. And I said, please help me. I need my support. I need my encouragement. There were times where I didn't want to go to student teaching because it was so difficult. Yeah? Talk about being set apart from other teachers. That is who I am. Because I cannot teach the way that you guys teach. I have to teach in a way that thinks outside the box so that I can manage student behavior, I can manage attendance, I can manage fire drills, and guess what? We had to do that. Yeah? And it was all about asking for help. It was all about thinking outside the box. So my message to you, I'll wrap this up and I'll play a song here. Do not let your limitations be your reason for why you do not get a good education, for why you do not get a career. Do not let your limitations be your way of living, yeah? Because if you have a support team, if you have teachers, if you have parents, kids might think they don't need the parents, but I think that we do. We just don't listen all the time. We need parents. Parents, do not give up on your kids. You're just around the corner to a breakthrough pretty soon, I'm sure. Yeah? Teachers, right? We have our day-to-day tasks. There's so many day-to-day tasks, right? Do not give up. That's my message to you. Do not give up. Have I answered every question that principals might have? Probably not. But it's all about the attitude. It's all about embracing the challenges. So today, let me share a special song that I wrote called In My Eyes, and I'll give about a few seconds so that I can get transitioned into that. Thank you so much for listening to my story.